South Africa is one of 15 highest contributors of carbon emissions in the world and the single largest on the continent. While approximately 77% of our primary energy still comes from coal, our freshwater resources are already almost fully utilized and under stress. Many are also polluted. With the African continent already singled out as one of the most vulnerable to climate change, you might expect South Africa to be in the throes of an environmental meltdown. But South Africa has a talent for exceeding expectations. Already, the South African government has taken the lead on a number of climate initiatives and compliance matters, while simultaneously defending the economic growth vital to eradicating poverty. And together with the National Business Initiative, local corporations are pioneering a new era of sustainable, responsible business.
We realized in 2005 already, when the country didn't have firm policies in place, that we needed to embark on a sustainable journey. And we discovered that business was quite ignorant of a lot of sustainability issues, especially with regard to things like climate change, energy and water. So a lot of our work in the beginning as the NBI was first of all just to advocate the messages around why this was important and why it had to move from just being an environmental focus to an economic focus.
The South African business sector invested 17.6 billion rand in projects and initiatives set to reduce energy use and lower emissions. These are the companies who realize that in order to remain globally competitive, they need to change the way they look at the bottom line.
This has been my dream, to see renewable energy come in at scale into the South African market and make use of the blessings this country has. And one of those is lots of sunshine.
These are companies who know that smart innovations can go a long way.
The plant you see in the background, it's a 2 megawatt plant working off methane. What makes it unique is that we generate with methane, and instead of dumping the heat, we reclaim the heat and use that then to generate chilled water.
These are companies who achieve change by investing in real opportunities wherever they find them.
We have spent a lot of time and energy in the development of composite cements that perform better than the traditional cements, and in the process we have been able to reduce our carbon footprint on the main product about 50%.
In terms of adapting the operations that we currently have, the wheels are turning there. There are a number of companies that are doing marvelous initiatives that are aimed at reducing greenhouse gas emissions.
There are major opportunities that exist for companies that are operating in the financial services sector in the form of supporting investments into renewable energy sources, but also significantly making a contribution towards those targets by supporting innovations which should drive, the reduction in carbon emissions.
Being a development financier and developing a new industry, we would like to focus on development, being job creation, new technology development, and also supporting emerging industries. The Green Energy Efficiency Fund is especially designed with a priority to SMEs to assist them to access cheaper money to become more carbon friendly and greener over the next few years.
If you think about issues of climate change, and what it means for us as business is that we have the responsibility to make sure that we assist government in moving the economy to a low carbon economy. In fact, it's not only government and business, also civil society, you and I, understanding what this means if we want to move to the low carbon economy.
One key issue for business is the establishment of the Green Climate Fund. And clearly it is important in terms of whether there is going to be climate finance into the future. Secondly is the establishment of the technology mechanism. And given that resolving the climate problem to a large extent is dependent on technology, the extent to which you get progress on that is very important for business. And thirdly, an adaptation committee is to be set up. In our context in South Africa, the question of managing the impacts of climate change is important. And finally, a system is going to be set up for measuring, reporting and verifying mitigation actions by developing countries. And I think certainly that is going to have implications for South Africa.
Well, I think as the CEO Forum, we've certainly bought into the fact that as an industry, we need to transition to a lower carbon-intense environment. And to that extent, I would certainly call on all companies, both local and international, to continue with their carbon reduction processes that they already have in play until governments reach a satisfactory outcome.
Yes, the green economy can come, but it's got to come with more investment in technology and time to get the economics right before we can truly say, now we can move forward aggressively.
These companies develop initiatives that make quality of life a way of life.
The Good Business Journey, which we started at Woolies about 5 or 6 years ago, is about putting sustainability at the core of how we do business. And we looked at the world around us and thought, isn't there a better way to do business? Isn't there a way to do business that minimizes the impact on the environment, if possible adds back to the environment around us, to the social infrastructure around us, to the community around us? And those were the frameworks that we set for the Good Business Journey.
No matter what happens to reduction of carbon dioxide emissions, we are going to be living with the negative impacts of climate change anyway. And that means any company that considers itself as a long-term company has to include adaptation as a critical element of its business strategy.
Essentially, climate change will affect the amount of risk to which society is exposed and hence the cost of insurance. The full impact of climate change will only be felt over decades going forward. Climate risk is not something that you can confine to geographical boundaries. Climate systems operate over many, many countries, and it's essential to act collaboratively globally in order to respond appropriately.
We want to be the player in the energy landscape as it unfolds in the Southern Africa region. That's a key priority for us. And the third leg we've added recently is new energy, low carbon electricity. We're looking at a lot of technologies, underground coal gasification, carbon capture and storage, shale gas, hydro power, wind power, concentrated solar power.
We've got some fascinating projects on the way. And the really exciting thing is most of them have come from within the system. They haven't come from the leadership. They've come from a supplier or a manager or somebody on the shop floor.
It also comes down to what the individual can do. We don't value energy. We don't value resources generally, energy, water, those kinds of things. And we need to change our mindset. If as companies we can engage with our employees as well as our customers and say have a greater appreciation of the resources that you use, then I think come to 2020, we'll be on a far more sustainable footing than we are today.
The hosting of the COP17 negotiations on climate change in South Africa has given further impetus to South African businesses, making a measurable difference. South African business is setting a powerful example. By collaborating with government, with society at large, and with each other, we can create wide-scale initiatives that will counter the negative effects of climate change, while allowing us to uphold our international competitiveness, our natural diversity, and our national pride.